love it. Hey, Gary, is Bob showed up?
Yes, Bob's here.
Bob's here? Okay. Well, super. I am tickled. Let me, I always have speakers come that fit with what I'm teaching. I have Bob Diamond. How many folks have seen Bob or heard of Bob before? Let me see a show of hands. Okay. Let me go to another page. How many folks now raise your hand if you've seen Bob? Okay. All right. All right. Well, he's awesome, and there's a huge number of you that are just going to have a great treat here. Bob's one of the most respected real estate and business attorneys. He's an attorney and investor. He's been investing since '89 and been an attorney since '95. And I know Bob personally. I've actually been to his home in Puerto Rico this last year. He invited me down there, and it's an incredible opportunity. He knows his stuff, and unusual for an attorney, instead of saying no, like many attorneys, Bob finds a way that you can do it. He's a deal maker, and he's featured at NBC and CBS and Fox and NPR and Flip That House as a real estate and a business expert. And Bob's here today to tell you about the business opportunities that he and his teams are doing with great success. I have found that by bringing in outside speakers, it enhances this boot camp. Like I said, I've always done it. And it's pretty amazing what Bob's going to show you today. He acts as a finder, helping people recover hidden monies owed by them by the government. And Bob's here to teach you about this opportunity. It's not what you see on TV. There's nothing else like this. I know his system in depth, and I watch his training and take notes every time he shows up. And it's been awesome. So Gary, can you get him on, please?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get his slides up. There we go. There's Bob. All right. Good deal. This is overage. See the overage there? He's going to talk to you about that. I don't know, for the next hour and a half or so, and you are going to be amazed on this. So, yep. I can hear a little talking back here, Gary. So. All right. What I'm going to do when Bob's done is we're going to do a Q&A. And I want you to shoot questions to Gary in the chat box. And then Bob, and I'll be there too. Bob and I will answer the questions. Mostly Bob, it's his stuff. Okay.
Thanks, Alan, for the kind words. It is great to be here. I'm so excited to be with all of you, and I'm so excited to be telling you about something that is working amazingly well in this market, and it's called overages. It'll help you generate lump sums of cash quickly and easily. And let's face it, folks, don't you want that right now? You want that comfort of having lump sums of cash coming in regularly and without having to put out a lot of money, without having to put out a huge amount of effort. Just a little bit of elbow grease and you can be successful. This is absolutely an amazing, amazing program. And I have a pledge to you. I promise you that I'll give it to you straight. I'll give you the good stuff, the bad stuff, the in-between stuff. And as we go through, I'll point out where the challenges are. I'll point out where the opportunities are. And I'm going to point out why I think this is really a fantastic thing to be doing right now. I've seen a lot in the 20 years that I've been an investor because I'm a real estate investor, active, hold a portfolio. I've been an attorney for 23 years, but I've never seen anything as simple and as profitable and as big as this overages business that I'm about to show you. And best of all, anyone can quickly take advantage of this. You don't have to be an attorney. You don't have to be an experienced real estate investor. You just have to be someone willing to roll up your shirt sleeves, do a little work, follow a system, and enjoy really sizable checks. And I think this is the perfect positioning for the coming tidal wave of deals. We've had a lot of economic disruption. We've had the COVID virus. We've had and are still having protests and riots and craziness out there. And all that economic disruption and uncertainty is going to create opportunities in real estate like we've not seen since 2009. And 2009, 10, 11, and 12 is when people that were out in the market were making an absolute bloody fortune because there were people who had to sell and wanted to sell, needed to sell at that time. And so properties could be picked up at huge bargains. And that is coming again. And it's starting 6 to 9 months from now. It's going to take a little while for the pain to set in and for people to really get desperate to move their properties. But starting 6 to 9 months from now, you're going to see bargains in real estate. Like, again, we haven't seen since 2009, 10, and 11, so basically 10 years ago. And those of us with cash are going to be king and fortunes are going to be made. So the question is, how can you put yourself in a position to be the king or queen of the pile? To have cash, to be able to walk in there and buy properties at fractions of their value just a couple months ago. And guess what? The properties will go back up to those values. It's just that when you're in there at the right time, as they say, timing's everything, you can make a fortune. And I love that you're doing private money with Alan COWGILL, because if you combine a little bit of your own cash with a lot of private money, you can make your fortune in a large, scalable way. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who had been buying in the 2009, 10, 11 time period, and he said, I only have one regret. And I said, what's that? He said, I didn't buy 10 times as much back then. And that's going to be exactly the opportunity you have now. And if you do buy and you do move, you're going to be thrilled. If you don't, you'll always be looking back thinking, why didn't I do more? So when we raise private money, you know that one of the underlying questions is always, well, how much do you have into the deal? It's a fair question and one that's always going to come up. And of course, you can sort of massage your way around it. You can talk a good game and you'll raise some money. But if you want to raise money faster and easier, if you can give an answer that you are putting substantial money in. So if you can say, I'm putting in $50,000, I'm putting in $40,000, I'm putting in $100,000, makes it so much easier to raise capital. And overages is the system that can get you that cash. So overages is going to fuel your real estate empire. This is not a replacement for your real estate. It could be if you wanted it to be. But I think if you're there raising private capital with Alan, you're obviously a real estate person. You're obviously getting prepared and very smart because you're doing it at the right time. And this overages is going to absolutely fuel that because you're going to have money to put into every deal because you're going to make that money from overages. And it's perfect for today. You can work this business from home. It works by internet, phone, and mail. You don't have to go out. You don't have to go, out driving to someone's house to meet with them. You don't do any of that. You just are literally working by internet, phone, and mail. And there are hundreds of millions of dollars in deals available right this second. This isn't something that might happen, could happen, should happen, or someone predicts to happen. These tax sales this is based upon have happened already. There are huge, huge amounts of money sitting there just waiting to be claimed. And you can make money even if you don't have a lot of cash right now. You're going to be able to make cash very quickly with minimal investment because we're essentially providing a service. And here's how it works. It's a service you're going to provide spending typically 8 to 10 hours on a deal and earning between $9,000 and $12,000. There's no investment or loans needed on your part. We're not claiming people's money. We're claiming money that's there, but we're providing service for people who are entitled to the money but don't know where the money is, don't know how to claim it, and we're providing the service of helping them get their money back for a portion of that money. And here's what this is based upon. When properties, meaning real estate, is sold at a property tax foreclosure auction, and those are deed auctions. Those are the ones where they sell the deed to the property, not the tax lien auctions that you'll hear about with high interest rates, but tax deed auctions where they sell the actual property. Well, when those properties sell for more than the tax debt, money that's left over is owed to the former owner. And properties that have improvements on them, meaning houses and structures and warehouses and commercial space, those always sell for more than the tax debt. And money that's left over, well, that money is owed to the former owner. But here's the catch. They have to know the money is there, and they have to ask for it. If the people don't ask for the money, which one of the problems is they don't know the money's there, they won't ask for it. If they don't know the money's there and ask for it, then they simply don't get the cash back. And that's very, very sad, because when they don't claim their money, they don't get the money. It actually forfeits to the government. And here's how it works. Government doesn't actively help. Government's passive. They don't go looking for former owners. They're not going to call people up or send like a sheriff's deputy out to track them down and hand them a check. That never happens. Instead, they're waiting. The government is waiting for the people to ask. And if they ask, they do get the money. But if they don't ask, the money eventually forfeits to the local government. And of course, this is all state law dependent, so it depends on which state you're talking about. I'm an attorney. We've done all the research. I can tell you how long it is in each state. And that's part of what you get when you sign up for training under us to actually go into this business and doing it. We give you all of our research that tells you exactly how long the time period is in each state and all the details about each state. So government doesn't actively help people. And if people don't ask, they're not going to get their money. And we're talking about a lot of money. Literally, there are hundreds of millions of dollars all over the United States waiting to be claimed. And this is because on an average day, meaning Monday through Friday business day, 3,000 tax foreclosures are completed. That means properties are listed for sale and actually sold all across the United States. And of course, with economic disruption, coronavirus, et cetera, that's only going to get to be a larger number. So we're going to see even more of these, and it's going to make the business even richer than it is, although it's pretty crazy rich right now. And these numbers, by the way, I get from JP Chase. JP Chase did a study of this market, and they said the tax foreclosures generate $13,698,630.14 on average each and every business day. So you have $13.6 million coming into the system. And you might say, well, I understand that, but what's that got to do with me? I don't understand how this fits together. Well, here's why it matters to you. You can get paid finder's fees of 30 to 40%, helping former owners get their money. So if you get someone $20,000, you're going to be charging between $6,000 and $8,000 for that money. And I'm here to show you a business system that gets you those finder's fees. They're big, they're robust, they're substantial, they come in quickly, and it's an amazing thing to be doing right now. We have a huge upswing in tax sales, and we already have hundreds of millions of dollars anyway, but it's only going to get bigger. So huge potentials, hundreds of millions of dollars in overages claims available right this second, meaning they're there. It's not a prediction. The money is there right now. So imagine the finder's fees that you can make, and also the help you can give people. And I always say to anyone who asks me about this business that I think the right person for this business is someone who wants to make a lot of money, is comfortable with that, you're happy, you want to provide the best for your family, you want to do the best for yourself, but you also truly want to help people. Because the people that we help get their money back have been really kicked hard by life. They've lost usually their house at a tax sale, and they've lost everything. They lost all the equity in that property. They lost the down payment they put down, the payments they put in over the years, any improvements they did to the property. All gone, all disappeared. And what we do is we help them get that money back. Now, of course, we make a fee for it, and that's great, but I think when you think about whether you should do this business, I think the number one thing is you should do this business if you both want to help yourself financially and do great for yourself and your family, but also if you want to truly help other people. Because frankly, if you don't, I'd rather not train you or even involve you with the business. This is a business that, at least for our group, it's for people that care about other people and want to make an amazing financial life for themselves and want to make help for others. So if you do that, then keep listening up, because you're absolutely going to love this business. Here's what this is really based on. The problem is former owners don't have any idea money is available or how to ask for it. And frankly, they've lost their property to the government, which is forcibly taken their property at an auction and forced them from the property. They're not in any mood to tangle with the government. They're afraid of the government, if nothing else. They're ready to just kind of crawl away and try to rebuild their lives. But they have no idea there's money there for the asking, and it's large amounts of money. Tens of thousands of dollars are very typical. And I'll show you lists in a little bit. So tens of thousands of dollars typical, 20, 30, $40,000, very common. And that's life-changing money for someone that's lost their property at the tax sale. But the problem is because they have no idea that the money's there, how to ask for it, they never ask. You know, statistically speaking, 5.7% of the money is claimed in a given year. That's according to the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators. The corollary to that means that 94.3% of the money is not claimed. So the vast majority of it, people never ask for it and they never get. And it's so sad because these folks have lost their home and now they're going to lose the excess cash generated from the sale of their home unless you or I reach out to them, let them know there's money to be claimed, and that for a fee we'll go and claim that money and help them out. And it's really a shame when one of us doesn't find them because it's pretty crazy. And this is a surprisingly simple business with some help. You do need to know a few things. You need to know how to get the list of available monies. I'll show you how to do that with just an email. You need to know the unclaimed property laws. I know those and I'll give you the info. And you need to have legal and business agreements and forms. I've drafted those for you. I have them prepared and they're ready to go. And you're also going to need some legal and business agreements and forms. And I've drafted those. Those are ready. They're battle tested. They're proven. They're really terrific. And I love that this is within your reach. You don't need money to invest. You don't need a loan. You don't need any credit. You just need to have knowledge. You need to know how to find the list, how to approach the people, and how to get the money. If you know those three things, you're good. And I want to ask you something. Usually Alan's groups are pretty smart, bright people. So the activities here are finding lists, finding the people, finding a good phone number or email for them, approaching them and convincing them this is a real opportunity, and then getting the money. What would you think out of those activities would be the hardest thing? And just maybe put it in the chat box if you can. I'm gonna see if you, oh, perfect, yes. The challenge is getting people to believe you. And for all the folks that put something below and say, yes, that's exactly it. It's getting people to believe you because they're a little bit skeptical or a lot bit skeptical when you first call them, because you're calling saying, hey Fred, glad I got a hold of you. I have been researching government records and there's a $40,000 treasure trove that you're entitled to, and I'd like to talk to you about getting that money. We can help you out with that. Would you be interested? And for someone who's lost their property tax sale, they are just gobsmacked, surprised, and of course a little bit skeptical. So it's working through that skepticism. The rest of it, frankly, is pretty easy. But we show you how to do all of it, and we show you how to break through the people. But just to let you know where the challenge is really in approaching people. And I'm also going to give you a tool at the end as a bonus to help overcome that skepticism. So I've got something to kind of kick that out of the way. Best of all about this business, though, you're going to help others and you're going to make money, quickly generating enormous profits, and you're going to help people who've lost everything. It's rewarding, and I call it doing well yourself by doing good for others. And that is really the most rewarding type of business you can possibly have. And this works all across the United States. But I said at the beginning I would give you the good, the bad, and the kind of in the middle. Well, here's what I would say is a bad fact. 47 states give the money back, but 3 states don't give the money back. Isn't that crazy? So 3 states sell your house and keep the change. So let me go over those 3 states, because I know you're thinking, oh no, Bob, is it my state? Well, here you go. It's New York, Michigan, and Colorado. Those 3 states sell your house and keep the change. Those are 3 scoundrel states. And what's really interesting about this is one of my most successful students is from Colorado, lives in Denver and runs his team out of there. It's a small team of 3 guys, and they crush it, absolutely crush it. Every time I talk to him, over the years, we've been coaching him since 2011. He said, generally speaking, he'll make like $550,000 to $600,000 a year, which is pretty amazing in this business. And he's in Colorado, where they don't give the money back. Now, I until very recently, until the coronavirus drama, lived in New York City. And I, with the coronavirus drama, went to my second home, which is in Puerto Rico, and I've stayed here since then. But I've been working from New York City for years, and I have what I think is probably the biggest overages business in the country. We do hundreds of deals a year. And it doesn't bother me that I don't do business in New York State, because in New York, they don't give the money back. Other places do, but New York doesn't. So no matter where you are, you can do this remotely. John, who's my guy in Colorado, myself in New York, we just phone, email, and send out packages to other states. Nobody cares that you're not from their state if you have a large amount of money for them. So we give you a list of the best states, the ones where you have the longest time to claim the money, where there's no government regulation or limitations of what you can do. So we give you all of those, and we'll give everybody who gets involved with this course, we'll give you a list of the states, we'll give you all of our research, so you can know, which states are best for you, because there are a couple different options and some different choices. So I go through those with you and let you know which is, help you figure out which is best for you. Let me give you an example, because I know everybody here doesn't do tax sales, and that's what this is based upon. So let me show you tax sales. I'm going to take out my handy PowerPoint pen here. Let's take out my pen. This is a property that we're looking at as a pre-tax sale deal, which meant just looking at buying it before the tax sale. Nice looking property from the outside, looked pretty good, but we got inside the property because we met with the owner, and the place was a disaster. It had been a rental property, and the tenant just really made a mess of things. He tore up the kitchen cabinets, he removed the front door, and he took the toilets, which is the weirdest thing I've ever seen, but he did. He took the toilets, and one of the toilets being a baby blue toilet with matching baby blue tub and matching baby blue sink. And what I found out is there's no way to get a matching baby blue toilet again. You just have to replace everything, which meant just tearing out the whole bathroom and putting a new one in. It's just a disaster. And also he had a dog that was in there. That dog, Mr. Poor Dog, had never been walked in months, dog. And the place had hardwood floors, and the floors were just reeked, and it really was awful. So anyway, we're talking to the owner, and we just couldn't come to terms on price. My pricing is, I want to pay 70% of retail minus my fix-up cost as an absolute maximum. This property is worth about $200,000. My price was 70% of that, so $140,000 minus the fix-up costs, $35,000. So I want to pay $105,000 or so for the property. A little less, maybe a few dollars more, but that's about it. So we were talking to the owner, and we just could not come to terms. I mean, I was offering 105, they went up to 110, and he just wouldn't budge. He said, well, I paid more than that for it. I said, I know, but that was when you had a toilet, a front door, and the dog hadn't been in the property yet. So anyway, we just couldn't come to terms. And it's a free country. He was free not to sell his property, and he exercised that right. But the tax man was free to sell his property whether he liked it or not, and the tax man did. And at the tax sale, a guy showed up who I think had not seen the inside of the property, is my guess. Probably just did a drive-by inspection and didn't realize what a mess it was. Anyway, he pays $150,000. Way more than you should pay for that property, but again, who knows, maybe he's an owner-occupant, I don't know. But the taxes that were pretty small, $10,000 in taxes, which is not a whole lot of money. A lot of money if you don't have it. And this guy with the rental property with no tenant didn't have the money, but it wasn't that much. And so the property was sold for $150,000. And by the way, I'm rounding these numbers just to make the math easier to follow. It did have dollars and pennies, but I just got rid of them just to make the numbers easy to follow, because that's the point of this. So $150,000 was paid. The taxes that rode were $10,000, which the government took to cover their taxes. What was left, which is called the overage, is $140,000. So that money was sitting there. It's due and owing to the former property owner. So that's the money that the former property owner was entitled to. And like most former property owners, this gentleman had no idea that he could possibly get a refund or money back from the tax sale. So he didn't attend the sale. Sales, people losing house tax sale don't attend tax sales. It's sad, it's terrible, it's difficult, so they don't attend the tax sales. So anyway, I called the guy up and I said, hey, what if I could still get you that, I offered $100,000 for the property. And he said, well, I can't. And I said, what do you mean you can't? He said, well, I lost the property. I don't own it anymore. And I said, no, I know that. I said, but what if I could still get you $100,000? And he's just puzzled, I could tell. And I think he was thinking, I wonder where this guy's drinking or something. But I don't really drink, so I'm sure maybe, I guess he wouldn't know that. But anyway, so, he said, is this a real offer? And I said, yes. I said, I will get you $100,000. And he said, well, okay. He said, I don't know how you're going to do it, but okay, I don't own the property anymore. I said, I know, it doesn't matter. So I think he probably thought that I was going to try to undo the tax sale or something like that. which you can sometimes do, but that's not what I was up to. Obviously, I was just after the overage. So I went, applied, got the $140,000, and then gave him 100 and kept 40. So essentially, I'm making more money than the guy who paid too much at the tax sale, paid $150,000 for a $200,000 house. So I made more money than him. And I gave a gift to a gentleman that, you know, had lost his entire rental property. I was probably regretting it, you know, not having just sold it to me, just to get something out of it. And I was able to come back to him and say, look, I can still help you out. Imagine what a cool feeling that'll be when that's what you're able to do. You're able to go back to someone who's lost their property tax sale. Doesn't mean you've ever talked to them before, but this is essentially what we do. You go to someone who's lost their property tax sale, and you're able to help them get a refund and get their money back. I mean, what is more amazing than that? It's really, really cool. And you know, I'm a recent father, so I have a 3.5-year-old, wonderful. I absolutely love spending time with him. And I found as my life has changed and, you know, I got married, had a child, I want to spend more time with my family, more time with my child is really important to me. So I look for businesses where I can get big returns for a small amount of my time and effort. And, you know, I'm a practicing attorney, and I've you know, been billing by the hour forever for real estate transactional work. And for that, if you want to make more money, you just have to put in more hours. I started looking for businesses where I could put in less hours and make more money. And this is the perfect business for that. So if you're a busy person where you want to be able to make a lot of money without a lot of hours being spent, this is a perfect business for you. So I want to show you one of the reasons behind that. I'm going to show you a typical list that I compiled. It took about an hour to compile this, not a big deal. Send out some emails, and we'll talk about that later. We'll send some emails, make some calls, you'll get lists. On this list, which is not even one of my biggest lists, just it's a list that I have, if you worked a deal a month from this list alone, you could make $250,000 a year. You know, to be specific, $254,379.28 for you exactitude people out there per a deal a month. Remember, deals take 8, 10, maybe 12 hours on the outside. And of course, the more deals you do, the more money you make, with literally millions of dollars available and ready for the taking. So let me just show you, let me show you a list. Go over here. This is a real list. And of course, I've sorted it and put it in order. You know, I do fancy things like put the lead number in there. You know, it's just 1 through 12. So I said, what if you did just a deal a month? Just to show you guys something. So if I took these first 12 leads, which is a deal a month, this is the money I would recover. And it's that total, you can see the sum down here, $635,000 for those. And the finder's fees, well, they totaled $254,379.28. So if you just did those 12 deals, and by the way, this is from one county out of the 3,007 counties in America. If you just did those 12 deals, you'd make $250,000. And I want to show you a couple of other things about this list that I think are interesting and instructive. The first is take a look at the names. You'll see that most of them are just people. You know, Rebecca, Julian, Gertrude Kulik, Michael, May, Henry, Diane Watson, Florella. Just ordinary people who've lost their property. And, you know, like Julian and Rebecca is sort of the worst example. A poor woman lost property at 1415 Ridge Mill Terrace, probably her house. The leftover money is $121,946.88, which means your finder's fee, which we charge 40% in our office of what we recover. It's a free country. You can charge what you want. I think the maximum you could ever really charge is 50%. I think 30 or 40% is a good number, but it's a free country. You can charge what you want. We're always at 40%, but I have students that are at 30%, some at 40%, some occasionally charge 10%. Maybe for a very large claim. That's what we do. We're a law firm with an actual overhead, and also we do charge. But anyway, I think 50% is your maximum, because I think if you talk to someone like Rebecca, Julian, if you call them and say, hey, Rebecca, you know, I know where there's some money we can get you, and it's about $120,000. And if you work with us, we'd expect that net of your expenses and costs, you should net $70,000, $75,000. And should take 4 or 5 months to get you that money. What do you think? Pretty exciting to her. And if she said, well, how's this working? And he said, well, it's a 60-40 split. You get 60%, you get the vast majority of it. You can sell that. That works. If you tell her, well, it's a 50-50 split, that'll work. You get some objections for it. The problem runs into when you take more than half and you say, oh, it's, 40, 60, 40% for you, 60% for me. People get upset. It doesn't really work. People are like, well, that doesn't seem fair. So in my view, your maximum is about 50%. You can charge what you want. We and other people in business occasionally do things as pro bono, meaning for free for the right circumstance, but generally 30 to 40%. So you'll decide that. We'll talk a little more about that later, but you'll decide what's right for you. But 30 to 40% is typical. It's legal. It's makes for a very robust and profitable business. And I would say do that. And then on some occasions, when you have the right person, give it to them for free or give it to them at a reduced rate. I also want to point out there's some companies like Transal, Pinot, Centerland. So what that's going to be is someone that tried to do a real estate development. Maybe they were trying to build a strip center and couldn't get their approvals, or maybe they were trying to build an apartment building and weren't able to get financing to build the building. Whatever it is, they've lost the land. And this is not big companies like AT&T or BlackRock Investment Corporation. Those companies pay their taxes. Win, lose, or draw, they pay the taxes. These are small players that are kind of two guys in a pickup truck with one hard hat between the two of them that try to do something and it didn't work out. And so they're very easy to talk to. I teach you how to find the people associated with it and sign them up. The same thing, Booker Land is another one of those things. And you'll occasionally see, and not occasionally, I would say, sometimes you'll see estates on the list. I'm surprised we don't see any here. I'm sure we'll see. I'll show you another list, and I'm sure there'll be an estate on there. You'll also find estates because someone passes away, their family maybe is bickering or doesn't have money to pay the taxes, so they don't pay them, and eventually the property goes to tax sale and is lost. And those families are very easy to work with. They're thrilled and surprised to learn there's some money that all was not lost with the house, and they're absolutely thrilled about it. The last thing I wanted to point out is the time frames in these. This is a state where you have 5 years to claim the money. And you have anywhere from 6 months to 10 years to claim the money. Most states hover around 3 years, but we give you a list with all the details, like how many years you have to get the money before it's forfeited to the government. And take a look. So you have 2017, so these are almost 3 years old. This one is more than 3 years old. Here's one that's 2 years old. We tend to go after ones that the money's been sitting there for a while. And I'll go into a little later why that is, but we go after ones that have been sitting for a while. And one of the things you have to realize is that, Rebecca Julian, if she lost her property in December of 2017, a couple of years ago, nothing's going to tell her, hey, Rebecca, you could go collect, $121,000 from the government if you just fill in these forms. No magical thing is going to happen to help her out with that, except for you or I calling them. So it's pretty cool. So these people don't know about the money. You can tell just because it's an old claim. Also tells you some people worried this month to be like, well, Bob, what about the competition? Is there competition? Sure, there are people doing this, but nothing meaningful. And what I say to people is take a look at the list. We see all these old leads, from 2017, 2018 that are substantial amounts of money with substantial finder's fees up for grabs. If there were a ton of people doing this, these leads would have been long gone. So that's my comment on that. Let me just show you, because I do want to show you an estate. Here's another one of the lists we're working on. Let's see. There you go. There's an estate. Ruthie D. Montague Est, which is a state, or Elise Benjamin. These two. So these two are estates. Very common to find estates. I teach you how to find the relatives, reach out to them, use the right words, and get them to work with you through the estate. It's fantastic. One of the good things about estates is it's actually easier for people to believe there's money that the relative had or was owed that they don't know about. Easier than if you say to me, hey, Bob, you're owed $121,000 that you don't know about. I would say, I'd love that to be true, but how could it be true? With estates, it's pretty easy for people to believe that. And this is pretty cool. If you did the first 12 lists, just say this year you said, I'm going to do that list, your profit's $580,000 if you got these 12. And of course, if you're a little more motivated and you want to do a second set of 12, you're going to do 2 a month. In this list, there's a total of between the total from the first 12 above and those $845,000. If you're really motivated, you want to do 3 a month, $1 million, because there's your 36th claim, $1 million. in your bank, by the way. That's not, we're not talking about the total amount claimed. That's the money in your bank account. And these are just two. There's another list we're working on. This one has really big surplus. Look at the overages. Sometimes we call them surpluses. It depends on the state. I go through that with you, but in different states, they'll call them overages, overbids, surpluses, excess funds. I teach you all that terminology so you sound, you know, in the know. But in this state, they call them surpluses. And, you know, look at these finder's fees. So just these first 12 alone, nearly $1 million worth of finder's fees. And these are just examples from, you know, local government agencies that we pick up, and we go reach out to the people and find them their money. And you can see, again, older sales. And this is another 5-year state. So older sales, money sitting there waiting and waiting to be grabbed. And with this list, I mean, you can go on and on. If you did the first 24, it's 1.5 million in your bank. Do the first 36, 1.9 million. The first 48, $2.3 million. With more and more available. You know, it's just, you look at the size of these surpluses, and they're just enormous amounts of money. And you can go down this list and down and down and down. And we'll typically work leads down to $5,000 size as our sort of lowest. And look at this. If you look, I cut this list off for anything below 5,000. But for ones above 5,000, there are 362 leads with the total surplus value of $6.3 million in finder's fees. Like $15.8 million in surplus, $6.3 million in finder's fees. So there's this huge, you know, number of these things. The other thing I wanted to point out to you about this, the number of tax sales is going to go through the roof this year, because people that are facing tax sale in most years will scramble around trying to find the money and trying to, you know, scrape together their cash to prevent the tax sale. It's going to be harder to do this year. There are going to be a lot of people who just don't make it. You know, they run around at the last minute. Their friends don't have money. Their family doesn't have money, and they're just going to lose their property at a greater rate than before. We already have tons of these leads. I mean, internal database, we have almost 6,000 leads that are, I think, 148 million, if I remember correctly, that are waiting for us to get to them, and we'll never get to them all. There's not a chance. We don't have that big of a team. So there's plenty of room for everybody, and most importantly, plenty of room for you. And these are, again, just some lists that we're working on. So let's go back over here, because lots more I want to cover before we run out of time. Each of these deals typically takes, you know, 8 hours, sometimes 10 or 12 hours, depending if you're new, and it may take a little bit longer, but not a long time. And you're not buying the claims, so you don't have to borrow any money to do them. Typically, your expenses, you're going to send someone out to get the contract signed and send them back. Typically, pay them $60 to do, and then you'll mail back and forth. You know, typically very inexpensive to run these deals, which is great. So it's not a lot of effort, not a lot of money out, and that is a really good combination. It's going to help you be successful and accumulate cash for the upcoming fire sale and real estate and other assets. So you'll be in a great position. So don't you love that? I mean, I'll bet you're just sitting here thinking, my gosh, I want to get, you know, some of these deals. I want to, you know, get the $254,000 or the $979,000 from doing these 12 deals. And I'll bet if you just did these first 3 deals are worth $305,000 in your bank account. Just for those 3. Think about how much that would change. Just 3 deals. That's pretty absolutely amazing. And of course, you know, the more deals you do, the more money you make. So it's really, really an amazing business. And you know, very difficult for a claimant to find it without you. They can search a name on Google all they want. They're never going to find this money because it's not indexed that way. You have to know where to look and how to ask the question to get the government agency to give up the information. And many large claim amounts, $20,000, $30,000 and more, are very common. Just look at these lists. I mean, you know, these are all $20,000, $30,000 claims up there. If we go on this list, my gosh, to even get to a $20,000 or $30,000 claim, we're going down to, oh boy, pretty far down the list. All right, so if we go to the first $20,000 claim, it's number 295 on my list. So there are 295 leads that are $20,000 or above. So like I said, you know, the leads of $20,000 and $30,000 or more are absolutely common, sort of a dime a dozen. And you get paid pretty quickly. Typically 4 months, it can be plus or minus a month. And we tend to tell our people that we're working for, which we call claimants, we tell them 4 or 5 months just so that they don't get antsy if it goes on the longer side. And if it takes us 4 months, I don't want them getting antsy. And no one objects when you pay them early. Believe me, when you come up with the check faster than you said you would, they're thrilled. And not much competition. The investors aren't thinking about what happens to money generated from tax auctions. They're busy doing the business of tax auctions, which is running around, seeing properties, getting their money together, bidding on properties, buying a few, and then renovating them. So they're not really thinking about, wow, you know, I was here and they sold 20 properties, and man, they sold 20 properties that was for $1 million. I wonder what happens at $1 million. They're not thinking about that at all. They're just doing about their business. So it's pretty cool that nobody really thinks of it. And it's kind of an obscure business. It's really too little known and too expensive for a do-it-yourselfer just to figure it out. Because just to do the research, the legal research in a state, when we did the legal research, which we did all 50 states, it took on average 10 hours per state. And even a cheap attorney, 10 hours at $300 an hour, you're talking $3,000 just in research for one state. And then you need contracts, and you need agreements, and you need forms. We use a dozen primary forms, and if you have a super fast attorney that can do a form in an hour, for a business he doesn't know, which would be amazing, but say that he could for sake of argument, that's 12 forms at $300 a form. It's $3,600, and you have forms that haven't been tested in the real world yet. So really just a little known and too expensive for do-it-yourselfer to put together. So people that do it are going to do it through us. So if you want to do it through us. Don't put yourself through researching 50 states. That's a really ridiculous thing to do. Take advantage of what we offer. But what the bottom line is, just not much competition from this. And I know that you guys are real estate folks for the most part, so you may think, wait a minute, Bob, what about mortgages? Well, just to start with, most properties sold at tax sale are free and clear. The mortgage does get divested from the property by the sale. What that means, the mortgage is no longer a lien on the real estate after the real estate is sold at tax sale. So mortgage companies keep an eye on the taxes, and they make sure that they're paid. And if they're not paid, then the mortgage company will pay them and then bill it to the property owner. And if the property owner doesn't pay them, then the mortgage company can foreclose. So most of them are free and clear. But there are some that aren't. And for the ones that aren't, it's really easy to avoid them. All that we do is we work on older leads. It's one of the reasons we're working on leads that are not brand new. You're working on these older leads, working on older leads here. The reason we're doing that, I'll put this back at the top. The reason we're doing that is if something's been sitting around since 2017, 2016, 2018, and it's here in 2020, if someone doesn't claim that money, they're not claiming it, and a mortgage company is not going to show up, out of the blue after 1, 2, or 3 years. If a mortgage company is going to claim, they're going to claim within the first 6 months or so. So an easy way to avoid mortgages is just work on leads that are more than 6 months old. It's really, really easy. Simple strategy. So this is the ideal business. When you do this business, you're going to do well by doing good, helping other people. You're going to help people who've lost everything, and you're going to make a great living. It's absolutely the perfect combination. And the people that I want, and I'm speaking to you, I want you, if you truly have a good heart to help people and you want a business where you can help people and you want to make a lot of money. If you're that person, then you need to do this. You're the very person I want to train, and you can have an amazing time. Now, I know that everybody can't stay for the entire presentation. You may have to run off and do something real quick in between, waiting for next speaker and all that stuff. So if you have to do that, I know I've seen a couple of messages in the chat box of people asking, when the next break is, and I really want to hear this, but can I come back? Blah, all that sort. So if you can't stay for this entire presentation, but you're ready to do this, which many people are, I can tell from the messaging in the message box, you can get it. It's go to overageswithalan.com, or you can call my office toll free at 888-722-4682. And if you call the folks there, I'll be glad to give any details they want and to get you registered. And you do have access to this training. It's offered electronically. You have access like 5 minutes after you register. So really, really easy. And we're giving out some special bonuses for everyone who signs up during this presentation, meaning not next week or tomorrow, but if you sign up during this presentation, then you'll get live training. And our live training will start on Monday at 6 o'clock Eastern time. I'm sorry, Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And it's about an hour, hour and a half. We answer all the questions on each training, so the time can vary a little. But between an hour and a half, you can ask questions, and I'll train you and help you get started. I'm there with my team. So we're answering questions. It's on GoToWebinar. So we're answering questions in the chat box the whole time. I'm talking and doing training. And you only get that live training if you register now, because I need to know how many people are coming to live training. And when I know how many people, and I know how many people I need to staff on the support side to answer questions, so I can meet my commitment, which is to answer every question on each training. So anyway, I want to keep moving forward because I got lots more to talk to you about. If you're ready, you'll see this link. I'll put it on screens past this when I can fit it on there so you can see it. And you can either go on the internet in order, just put in your information and you're involved, or you can simply dial and one of our friendly folks will be happy to talk to you. So continuing onward, let's talk about your new business and how you're actually going to get started. Step one in your new business, you're going to find out who's owed the money. You need a target list of the people owed the money. As an attorney, I know how to do this. These are public record lists. I can show you how to do it very easily and very quickly. Second step, you got to locate the former owner. You need the former owner's cooperation. This isn't something you're doing without them. You're doing it with them. You're helping them get money back, helping them get their lives restarted, and you're making a bunch of money doing it. We'll show you how to find those former owners who are owed the money right online. It's gotten much simpler. It used to be once upon a time, you'd get a Kohl's reverse directory, call the neighbor, stop by the house, all that stuff. Now you just dance with your keys on the keyboard and put in their name, and bam, most of the time you get the information immediately. Very quick, typically 15 minutes on the internet, and not at all difficult to do, really simple to do. And then we got step 3. So you got the list, you found the people, and now you've got to reach out to them. Well, you can do internet messaging. By internet messaging, what I mean by that is email, Facebook messages, any messages in that, LinkedIn messages, those kinds of things. The second thing, and really the sort of most straightforward thing, is just call them on the phone and give them the good news and get them signed up to work with you. So you can do that, and of course you can also always send out good old US Postal Service. You can use any combination of these things. We show you how to coordinate a marketing effort. Ours is really focused on just calling people on the phone because it's easier. When you call people on the phone, it's just straightforward, simple. Tell them good news, sign them up. It's pretty easy. But we also use internet messages like Facebook and email and things like that. We also use US mail service to send them mail. So we're using all three, but whatever you choose to do, you need the right messaging. So we give you the right message to email, a call script to use for the phone to guide you through the conversation, or if someone else is doing the calling for you, to guide them through the conversation, and exactly what to mail, so these people will be excited to work with you. And these are simple cut and paste, we give them to you in editable formats. So you can cut and paste your email in, cut and paste your internet message, you can cut and paste the letter if you want to do US mail, or you can just print out the call script, pick up the phone, dial the number, and have a conversation with them. They're going to be thrilled to talk to you. They are going to be a little skeptical, for sure, I can tell you that. But they're going to be very excited at the prospect of getting a bunch of money. And, when you call, Norman Jones and say, Norman, I think if you work with me, I can get you about $25,000. Norman's going to be one pretty surprised guy. And you're going to get him about $25,000. You'll get about $17,000, and everybody is happy with a capital H. So there's a challenge here. And I just, said I'd give it to you straight. You got to secure your fee. Here's where you can lose thousands or you can get thousands. And you really have to structure the deals correctly. So as an attorney, I've written the agreements that secure your fee, and I've designed the system so that the money flows into your business account. You keep the portion that's your fee and you forward the rest on to them. And you have to structure it that way. So I teach you how to legally and ethically structure it that way so the money passes through your account. You keep what's owed to you and you give them the rest. And when you get involved, I will get you the contracts that set up the structure that way and lock that deal down, because you have to get paid. You did the work, you brought the value, you have to get paid. And I don't want you to have to rely on they get a check and then they write you a check. I don't want that at all. I want them to be able to just, you get the money, you forward them their portion, you keep your portion. Perfect. And it's the way to do it as a professional. And here's an insider secret. You don't have to go meet owners. Once upon a time, that's the way we thought of this business, and we did it just locally. But over time, we figured out how to get other people to go out and meet claimants for us, get the paperwork signed, and then the locals just email them back to us. So we have a team of folks, of local folks, that are happy to work with you. They typically charge $50 or $60 to go out, get the paper signed, and send them back to you. And we'll show you how to get exactly those same folks to work for you. Lets you work from home, work in the best areas, and have both a great lifestyle and a great business. And let's face it, isn't that what you really want? You want a great lifestyle with the time to enjoy, the time to relax, with the money to make your life easy and simple, which is exactly what this gives you. And just in case I lost anybody, let me just go over the process to doing this business. Very simple. You're going to get the list of people who owed money. We'll show you how to do that. Typically as simple as sending out an email, and they send you back the list. Second, you have to locate the people. Typically, we do that online. We'll show you exactly how to do that, the best tools, very inexpensive to do, and simple. Typically 15 minutes, you'll find most people. Then you're going to contact them with our message. Again, you can pick up the phone and call them and follow our call script. You can send them a letter or a postcard. We have cut and paste formats for that. Or you can internet message them, meaning Facebook message, email message, LinkedIn message. So very, very simple. Then you're going to send the service out to get the paperwork signed, costs like $60, not a big deal. And then my favorite part is you get paid. You get a check in the mail, you deposit that check. Once it clears, send them their portion, and smile and get to dialing again. I say smile and dial, get to the next one. Pretty amazing. This is an amazing business though. Simple, fast payouts, perfect in today's market, especially we've already got, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of leads. We've already got tens of thousands of leads out there, but there is a tidal wave coming of tax foreclosures and regular mortgage foreclosures for that point. And all those things can create money for us to go and claim. And this is a completely work at home business. You don't have to leave your home, don't have to leave your office. If you're worried about coronavirus, you don't have to go meet with people personally. Just have the folks go out there, get the paperwork signed, and send it back to you. It's that simple. When you get involved, you can be like Bo. It's like be like Mike. You can be like Bo. So Bo's a young guy, super guy. He got our course in January, and so far he's made $102,000. That's why he's smiling so much. Just check after check after check. And what I would say to you is that everyone can be successful with this. All you have to do is follow the system, make contact with people, and follow through. And you too can have amazing results. And your results could be bigger than this or smaller than this. It's going to depend on what leads you choose to pursue and how you go about it. But essentially, success is there at some level for everyone if you'll just make the calls. Just do the work, because the leads are there. Those you can see. The leads are absolutely there. So, not too hard to imagine doing, 6 deals in 6 months. I think is pretty easy to do. And as I said, go be like Bo. Or maybe, Bo's a good guy, but maybe you want to be more like Melosi. So Melosi, super guy. So this guy shows up at a live training we were doing in Las Vegas. And of course, once we're doing live trainings. So Melosi showed up. He wasn't actually signed up for our conference, but he flew out just to see me. And what he wanted to do was show me his check. And he had this check, $356,000 check that he brought with me. So proud of him. So $356,000 check. And his profit on that, $124,000. That was his fee. And I was so happy for him. And I said, man, so tell me, is this your first claim? How's it been going? And he said, no, it's actually my 4th claim. He said, on the first claim, I just paid off all my debt. He said, credit cards and all that stuff, I just wiped them out. So it was such a relief. And I can imagine how you'd feel if you did one deal and just paid off your credit cards. So Melosi felt pretty good about that. So he said, I took care of that. He said, the second deal, I just put a bunch of savings in the bank. He said, I put a bunch of cash in the bank. And by the way, Melosi's only going after big deals. So the second one, he said, I just put cash in the bank, so I had ready cash. He said, that was just a feeling of relief to have, backup money and have savings. And I didn't say, how would you feel with that? If you dumped $124,000 check into your savings, feel pretty good, right? Bank teller would be surprised. They'd be saying, hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. They're pretty happy. And then he said, the third check I paid off my house. And I said, oh, so this is your fourth check? And he said, yeah. And I said, so what are you going to do? He said, well, I've got a plan. And I said, what? Tell me. And his plan, and he executed as he did this, bought his daughter a home with the profits on his fourth deal. And, his young daughter, beautiful young woman. And, he's like, she has a little boy, nice husband, and, she works as a nurse and make money, but not rich. And he said, I just want to get her a house so they don't struggle as much. And I was just so moved. I mean, it actually brought a tear to my eye because I'm thinking, this is a guy who, obviously is working hard. Melissa's working hard to do this, to make it happen. And he gets this big check and buys his daughter a house. Now, it's not a grand mansion. It's a beautiful little Craftsman style house. I love it. But, it's a modest house in a modest neighborhood, but beautiful little place. And can you imagine, and this was just before the coronavirus nonsense when I went with Melissa. And one of the things I thought about, these folks have a free and clear house. So they're not going to have a bunch of stress and upset in the house because they have a free and clear house. So the financial pressures, even on this young couple, are going to be much, much less because they've got the roof over their head secured. And that little cutie here, this little guy, reminds me of my little guy who's a little older than this guy. My guy's 3.5, and he's a little over 1, so it's a difference in age. But that little guy's going to have a better life because he's going to have parents that aren't as stressed and are happy. And what I ask you is, what if you could do something like that for your family and people you care about, even for yourself? Just pay off your own house. Think of how good that would feel. Think how good it would feel. I remember the first time I made a giant whopper of a mortgage payment on our house mortgage. And actually, my wife and I went down to the bank together, and we made the mortgage payment together, and we went out to lunch together. And my wife actually had tears in her eyes. She was so happy and so relieved. And that wasn't even the one paying off the whole mortgage. That was the first big payment we made before we paid off the mortgage. And she was just touched. I mean, she just felt like life was going to be really good and special. And my wife and I have a great relationship. And it was really interesting how that affected her. And just seeing how meaningful that was to her to know that our family has this house, and nobody can take it away because we own it. And that was pretty cool. So, if you'd like to be able to do things like this for your family, well, this is what can make it possible. And so, question for you: what would your life be like if checks like those were yours? This $120,000 checks like Melissa's pulling in. Maybe you just like to have a nice big fat piggy bank. I mean, for me, that's one of the things in my life that really just makes a difference. I like to have cash savings. It makes me feel relaxed. It makes me feel confident. I don't ever want to have to worry about money because there's far too much worry about money. People get into fights, and it's just, in my house when I was growing up, that's what my parents fought over whenever they fought. They didn't fight much. They were really great, loving couple, but when they got upset, it was always over money. So I always swore to myself, when I get older, I'm going to have enough money to never worry about money. So maybe you're like me, just want a nice fat piggy bag. When something goes wrong, you just pay and fix it. Or maybe you have a son or a daughter or a niece or a nephew who's like bright, hardworking. They've worked hard in school. Everything's looking great. And like this beautiful young woman gets into MIT. And if someone goes to MIT, I mean, they are going places, right? The alumni network's amazing. The education's amazing. The opportunities are amazing. But then they found out MIT's over $60,000 a year for tuition, much less housing. So, for an average family, it's unthinkable. So you find out MIT $60,000 a year, let's say another, $30,000 for housing and miscellaneous expenses. Well, it's a lot of money. And you say, man, over 4 years, that's going to cost me, what is that, $360,000. Well, I know what I'd do if that were the case. So I had that beautiful young woman. I would say, you know what? I'm going out to my overages list. And let's just work. Actually, let's work with this list. Now, that would be cheating. That'd be too easy. Let's make it slightly more challenging. Let's just say we work. Let's just make it simple. Say we work on this list. So we have our first year at $60,000 tuition plus $30,000 expenses, and we need about $90,000. We call up Evelyn Vinto and say, Ms. Vinto, so happy to get you. you know, there's actually a large amount of money that you're owed by the government. I'd love to help you get that money. And, you know, we work totally in a contingent fee. If we're successful, we get paid. If we're not successful, we don't get paid and won't cost you a penny. What do you think? Go through the call script. She says yes. You work that deal. You know, 5 months from now, you are pocketing $93,000. And by the way, you're sending $140,000 to Evelyn. It's going to be a pretty happy lady to get $140,000 when she said she had nothing. And guess what you just did? You just paid for the first year of college. First year, paid in full. Paid, woohoo! They said, oh, but Bob, you know, we covered the first year. What about the second year? I got you covered. You know what? We're gonna have to do 2 deals. We're gonna have to connect to the folks from Linda Lane LLP and Catherine Everett. And between the 2 of them, that's $131,000. And by the way, I can do this math so fast because the number shows up down here. So it's $131,000. So guess what? Sophomore year, we just knocked you out with $90,000 in expense, and we got $40,000 left over. So I'll just do this. Year 2, paid. You say, but Bob, what about year 3? You only have $40,000. You don't have enough. I know. So you know what? We're going to do this one. I'm going to do Bank of America stinkers. This one, by the way, when it's a Bank of America, what happened was the bank foreclosed on the property and then didn't pay the taxes, which is just so funny. It happens sometimes when they foreclose, like in September and the tax sales in October, then that can happen. So anyway, so we're not going to do all that. We're going to, Mr. Pinta, Benjamin Pinta, we're going to help him, call him up, help him out. He's going to get about $90,000 working with us. We're going to get $56,000. We add the 56 plus the 40 we have. Voila, year 3 is paid. And they say, oh, Bob, you don't have any money going to year 4. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You need $90,000. Okay, you know what? I'm going to have to do 3 this year for senior year. It's an unbelievable burden. Those 3 will get me $114,000. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do those 3, get the $114,000, and I'm going to put a check mark on senior year. I'm going to buy that beautiful, beautiful young lady some outfits for her new workplace, secure her in an apartment, make sure it's furnished, make sure she's set, because she's going to have a great job, but I'm going to make sure she's set. And I think that's what you do too. Make sure she's ready to go. And, you know, also, you know, if this weren't your circumstance, maybe you have something different. And maybe summer, maybe you want to get a boat. You know, I looked at this boat, because when I was young, growing up, I had boats. We used to have a little water ski boat. We go water skiing. Great memories from back then. And so I priced out this boat. Boat was $52,000 with all the accessories I wanted, including the engine and the water skis and all that stuff. $52,000, even on the smaller thing. Do 2 deals, it's done. I've got 2 deals. I got $83,000. I have enough to pay for the boat, a trailer, a dock, a slip, operating costs for the year, and still have some change left over. Or maybe say, no, Bob, I just like a vacation. I'd love to just plan like this winter, maybe over Christmas week, a vacation for the entire family. We've had a tough year. It's been a lot of drama, as for all of us. You're going to do like an all-inclusive in the Caribbean. So you go there, beautiful all-inclusive for 4 people, $10,000. You get an amazing all-inclusive with like first-class airfare and all the trimmings, everything. Like, can you imagine just sitting there, you know, laying in that hammock, swaying under the breeze, hearing the wind go through the palm trees. You got your husband or wife, you look over your shoulder, there they are, just smiling and calm, reading a book, relaxed. Hear the kids off in the distance just playing in the surf and having fun. Oh, so relaxing. And you know what's most relaxing? It's paid for in cash, because for $10,000 vacation, you could just go down and do, you know, work with the sellers. You get them $15,000 in their pocket. You get 10. There you go. Cash paid, wonderful vacation. And vacations are important because really it's one of the places family memories are made. You know, you could get the photographs that they always offer places like that. Get the photographs of four of you together fishing, or the 4 of you together snorkeling, or doing whatever you're going to do, dancing at night, having fun, going to the luau barbecue, just having a blast. Those are the things, you stick them up on the mantle, and those memories last for years. Because people look up and you just remember the nice things and nice times together. And I think you really can, like I said, you can make an amazing life, not only for yourself and your family, but also for people that we're helping. So I think you're really going to love it. And the other thing that everybody in an organization does, and maybe you'll be one of these people, every once in a while, we'll do something pro bono, meaning a free one. And my students do it too from time to time. Maybe you'll get a chance to help change a widow's life. Like one of my students just sent this in. So I get this picture. And obviously a woman of a certain age, we'll just call her, so older. And this picture's so cute because there she is, she got her hat on, she got her jewelry on. So obviously she got dolled up for the picture. And it's kind of interesting because she's sitting in this sort of beat up vehicle with a big old dent in its side. She's in a Walmart parking lot, which is a little curious. And I get a close up of the check, which turns out is $25,350.29. And, I read the email with it to get the story, and here was the story. This widow was living in that truck in the Walmart parking lot. So she's living in a car or truck. I think it's a truck, but she's living in that vehicle in the Walmart parking lot. And she had lost her home and become homeless. And she's older. She's certainly, been retired for a while. And this poor woman lost her home and lost everything, was living in her truck. And that is no way that an elderly senior citizen should be living out the last times in their lives. It's ridiculous. So our student found her, got a hold of her. She, thank heaven, had a cell phone. She was able to give her a call and give her the good news. The woman said, oh, if you get me money, it would be thrilling. And got her $25,000. And you know what my student did? And the student's name's Sarah, by the way. Sarah just gave her the check. Just said, here, you can have the whole thing. Because Sarah's making money in other deals. She doesn't have to do this. So her heart felt compelled to help this woman out. And I think that's amazing. I just think Sarah's an amazing woman for doing this. I'm so glad she found this woman who was living in a Walmart parking lot. And can you imagine what a change it is in her life to get a $25,000 check? And how would you like to be in a business where that's what you're doing? You're changing people's lives in amazing ways. That's what this business is about. So if this touches your heart, you have to do this, because these are the things that are going to happen to you, the amazing opportunities. And there's no reason to not charge people. You can. But sometimes you're going to find that maybe you don't want to charge people. And, this is just one example. We do it in our office. This is one of our students. And I just love this. I love the picture. I love the whole thing. I love the story. And I love being a part of it. And I'm really proud of my student. And I hope that you go do something like this. Make money like Melosi, pay off your debt, pay off your house, do great things for your family. But then every once in a while, do something like this. And you'll be truly blessed and truly happy in your life. So here's how you're going to get started immediately. Get the course. Go through to 3 to 4 hours worth of training it takes to get started in this business. We'll show you the areas to target, how to get the records, find the people, and request the money. If you get involved this month, very reasonable to get overages under contract next month. And it doesn't take that long. Typically between getting lists, calling blowout, a couple weeks till you get your first ones under contract, and then a couple months before you get your first ones paid out. Very low startup costs. The investment for this is $1,497. It's a one-time payment, no monthly fees or ongoing fees or anything. And you can think of it, in terms of ROI, how fast do I get paid back? Well, it's really free after one small overage of less than $5,000. So, $5,000, even if you did it 30%, is $1,500. And $5,000 overages are sort of at the very bottom of any list. You'd have to go down. Jeez. You have to go down, even on this list, which is our smaller list. You'd have to go down here to number 30. And of course, if you're on this list, you'd be going way, way, way down to, my gosh, you'd be all the way down to basically here, number 203 on the list. So, right there where you'd make your money back. So, the point is, you obviously would do a bigger one. You wouldn't do one that small. But very, very easy for you to get your money back with this system, which is pretty amazing. Just try it out. And very easy to make this pay off for you and have a great life. And remember, part of what I said earlier, the real estate bargains are going to come up. They're going to take a while to mature. And we're talking like 6 to 9 months out before the tidal wave of desperate sellers and foreclosures start. But by then you could be in a position where you have cash, when you're raising private capital, you can say, yeah, I can put in 50 grand, because you can, because you have it from the overages business. So you want to get started with the overage businesses right now, start accumulating your cash and get ready for the fire sale that's coming, because it's going to start in 6 to 9 months and it's going to go on for a good year and a half after that at least. So you're going to have plenty of time to capitalize on it, but you got to get started with the overages now, because it's going to take you 4 to 5 months to land your first deal. Then as long as you have a pipeline, you'll be getting payments out regularly. You know, if you sign up somebody every week, you'll on average be getting a payout every week. But you have to do this now because it's time sensitive. Now we do have a payment plan. If you need to do payments, you can do 3 payments of $597. And just let you know on that, we treat you the same as if you do a payment plan as if you don't. It is a little more expensive to do a payment plan. You know, 3 payments of $597 are mathematically more than 1 payment of $1497, but it's more work for us to do a payment plan. You know, we have to call people up sometimes because their second or third payment doesn't go through. Just, you know, it's more work for us. If you can make it simpler for me, I'll make it less expensive for you. But if you do have to do the payment plan, that you do get immediate full access to everything, the entire course and all the materials. You get all that, and you know, nothing changed there. And you'll make 1 payment about 30 days from now. It's automated over the computer, so it's approximately 30 days after. And then a 3rd payment 30 days after that. But whichever way you choose to get involved, is everything you need to do the business. A written quick start and comprehensive guide, plus online videos and forums. We tell you all the best states, we tell you all the rules in all the states. We give all the legal forms, scripts, and resources that you need to get this business going. So it's everything we've learned since 2011 when we started this business. We give it to you so that you can go and do this. And we're also going to give you a couple bonuses. Number 1, a website. Remember I said earlier that the most difficult thing or challenging thing in this business is credibility, just having someone believe you that this is real. Because of course they're thinking, oh, you know, could I really be owed, you know, $130,000? The answer is yes, absolutely yes, but they don't necessarily know that. So we need to have some supporting things to help people understand that your business is real, and a website is one of those things. You know, if you don't have a website, everybody's going to really question whether they have any business at all. So we will program a website for you. All that you have to do to get this website is go reserve a domain name. We show you how to do that. It's very easy. Costs $11 a year at GoDaddy, really simple. And we take care of everything else. We'll program it, we'll host it, and all that it costs you is like $11 a year. And most importantly, it's done immediately. It's all automated. You just press some buttons, hit the build my website button, and bam, your website's built and you're right in business. Literally, you can do this in 15 minutes. And if you have a problem doing that, just give us a call, and our customer support folks will help you walk you through it. It's very simple, typically 15 minutes. Even if you've never done anything more complicated than answer your email, you can still do this, I promise. And if you can't, our support team will help you out. Second bonus, we'll teach you how to use virtual assistants for this business. I have virtual assistants who frankly do most of the grunt work in this business. They get the list of people owed the money. They find the people on the computer, so they just use the computer to track people down, get their Facebook, get their email, get their phone number. They make initial contact with people and get the deal under contract. And of course, you think, wait a minute, Bob, if they're getting the list, finding the people, and getting the deal under contract, like, don't they just circumvent you and go around you? And the answer is no, because I divide up the work so that no one team knows how to steal the whole business. So some people are doing skip tracing, some people are doing list getting, some people are doing the reach out to people, and they're all separate. You know, the team that gets the list gives me the list, and I forward it to the people that I say, you know, find all these people. They don't know what kind of list it even is. And when they find the people, they give me the reports back saying, here's the contact information. I then just give the contact information to the sales team and how much money they're owed, and the sales team calls. They don't know where the lists come from, how they skip trace. They just get paid for doing their work. So it's pretty cool. So I'll teach you how to do that. And you end up being a coordinator and a director. And that's pretty much what my job is in life, is coordinating and directing. So you actually own a business instead of owning a job. I'm also going to give you 3 hours of live training when you register now. So in that live training, we will show you the system and answer your questions of the program. We do it live, and what that means is we answer the questions live. I recorded the training session because I want something that's edited and tight, and so I did that, but my team is there, my support team, answering questions. I'm typically there, as long as it's not any conflict in my schedule. I'm typically there. I'm answering questions. And our commitment is that we answer every question that's answered. So whatever you have, we answer your questions so that we're making sure you're not held back by anything. If you have questions like, oh, do I need an LLC or a corporation, wherever it is, we answer all those questions. But it's only available when you register now. The reason for that is I need to make sure I have enough staff on the call to answer all the questions. And we keep a student to staff ratio, meaning number of attendees in the call versus staff. We try to keep a ratio of 9 to 1, meaning 9 people asking questions to one person. So I have to know how many people actually have. So I need people who register now, then I can take my count, and then I can line up my folks, because it is after hours for us. It's 8 o'clock on Monday evening, so it's after hours for us. So I have to line up people to work overtime on those days, and I can't be having 10 people sign up at the last minute, and all of a sudden I'm short-staffed. I don't work last minute. I like to. It's important to me to meet my commitments, so it's available when you register now. There's no waiting list. For the people who register now, you're in. For the people who aren't, then you're not in. I want to give you some details on the live training. It's 3 one-hour training calls starting on Monday. That's in a couple days, Monday, at 8 o'clock Eastern time. And it should go for an hour to an hour and a half, just depending how many questions there are. We answer every question that's answered on every call. So, could run a little long, could run a little short if there are not many questions. So budget an hour and a half to if you want to stay there for the entire Q&A. The calls are recorded for you to listen to later. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, or just want to listen to it a second time, or you can't attend at all, we do record the calls for you to listen to later. But the class is strictly limited to those who register now. Register now, you're in. Don't register now, you can still get the course, but you can't be in on the live training, because I meet my commitments, and one of my commitments is to answer every question, every call. I need to make sure I have enough staff, and I need to line that up in advance. So the checks that you see flying across the screen, those are checks that my students have gotten, that we've gotten, and we update this check roll from time to time. And I hope next time that we're redoing this check roll, one of your checks is in here, or maybe 5 of your checks are in here. Maybe it'd be like Bo, and 6 of your checks will be in there. His checks never actually made this check roll, but the point is, I want you to be successful. I want you to go help people, and I want you to have an amazing financial life. And the checks that you're seeing are checks that are being gotten every day by our students, because you see the list. The lists are enormous, and they're just waiting for you to claim the money. And you know that the real estate opportunity is coming up. That's why you're here at a Raising the Money boot camp with Alan, because it's a smart thing to do, and it's smart to get lined up for the opportunities that are coming up, because the opportunities are going to be huge. And the man or the woman with cash is going to be the king or the queen of the ball. And if you have some cash, it's going to make it that much easier for you to raise capital and head into this opportunity zone, just like a steamroller, because the opportunities are going to be here. This is when fortunes are made. So I want you to make your fortune. So you can go to the website, overageswithalan.com, or you can dial into our office, the 888, which is a toll-free number, 888-722-4682. You can do either one, and we're happy to help work out with you. So Alan, I know that we talked about if there was time, if you had any questions, I'd cover them, or anything else. So I'm happy to stay for a couple minutes if you'd like to do that. And just, which would you like to do?
Yeah, I'd love it. I can see some questions coming in. I do want to talk to the people there. Gary will show the questions. I don't know if you've seen them there, but he's got them. I've seen them. One of the things everybody needs to know. Can you folks see what I'm holding right now? See what I'm holding right now? I'm holding Hooked on Overage that I bought from Bob. Now, you got to know, after all my years in this business, I don't buy systems, but I got this one. And I love it. And I'll tell you something. The virtual assistant training that he has is incredible. I've been through it all. And the other thing is that website. I thought that was so slick. It's fast. And you can put your picture on the thing, and it gives you credibility, like Bob said. So that is awesome, and I just love it. I just love it. So, Gary, you got questions there for Bob? Where is Gary Cassidy?
You know what? Hey, Alan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you and see you. Yep.
Okay. So, you know what? I've been noting down questions. I went through some of the chat.
Okay.
So you want me to just grab questions? So a couple of really great questions from people. So Josephine Safford, and sorry if I'm mauling anybody's name, I apologize. Wanted to know who is the money paid to? Really great question. What happens is the money comes to you, goes into your business account, and then you keep your portion and send them their portion. So that's
very important because you want it to come to you so you can send it to them, not the other way around.
Yeah,
right?
We don't want to be asking for checks. And we've actually had two circumstances where they've sent checks to the people. And what shocked me was they actually sent us the money. I mean, sent us our portion.
Yeah,
I was flabbergasted, to put it mildly, but they did. So that was really cool. But that's no way to run a business. You want to make sure that you're organizing it. And Jennifer Stewart wanted to know, how do we contact people, mailings, calls, how do we get the phone number? So great questions. And we give you training on how to do what's called skip tracing people. And this is something that's gotten so much easier over time. You know, once upon a time, when I started in real estate back in 1989, finding like owners of vacant houses was really difficult. You know, you got a Kohl's directory, you call the neighbors, and then you visit neighbors and you try to track them down. These days, you really just go on the computer or spend 15 minutes and you'll find most people. And we all know that. It's just, you know, privacy is sort of a thing of the far and distant past. So we teach you, how to do that. And we give you reference to websites that we use to do that. My favorite one is all of $15 a month for unlimited searching, so it's not expensive. And it's easy. It's gotten easy. And you'll find, I would say good expectations, you'll find 65 to 70% of the people that you're looking for. 30% you won't find. And it's okay because the lists are so big that you can have a drop off like that. It's not any problem at all. 15 minutes to the internet, $15 a month, really simple. So we teach you how to do that. And typically we call them. You can send them letters if you want to get them calling you, that's fine. I just pick up the phone and call them because it's easier and more straightforward. So that's my approach. But if you want to do direct mail, feel free. And let's see. And I know I'm going to maul your name, so I'm sorry. It's Jan Mathis. It's S-J-A-H-N. So maybe it's Jan, I think. Anyway, what Jan wanted to know is, do we owe a commission on the deals that you do? And I think you're talking about sending me a commission. Now, you're always free to send me checks. It'd be very nice of you to. I don't need you to or want to. No. You don't owe us a penny. And it's very nice if maybe you'll share at some point if you get a great deal. You help somebody in a really significant way, please share it. It's like the picture I got of the lady who was sitting in the Walmart parking lot. It's just one of my students who sent that in. And I had a tear in my eye. I mean, it's really, I was just thrilled. That person was in Nevada. We don't even work in Nevada. And I never would have found that woman. And, that woman, I mean, I don't know, I hate to say this, but she's past 80, I'm sure. So this is some 80 or maybe even 90-year-old woman living in a Walmart parking lot. And because I taught Sarah, our student, how to do the business, she went and helped the woman in the Walmart parking lot. That was enough for me. And if you guys can share stories every once in a while like that, I think I'm just really happy. It makes our whole team happy. So I don't care, by the way, if we share it with anybody else. Like you can say, hey, this is just for you guys. Fine. I don't need to share it. I just take much personal pleasure out of that. So you don't owe us anything. And Robert Opoka is thinking ahead. He's saying, what kind of taxes are we going to owe on this? It's regular income. So whatever regular income taxes are in your state is what you would owe. Garland Ferguson wanted to know who's the money paid to. The money comes to you through your account. David Corbett said, hey, first loans are wiped out at the tax sale, right? Actually, all liens are wiped out at the tax sale. So at the end of the tax sale, there are no more liens on the real estate. That's all wiped out. That doesn't mean that someone who used to have a lien on the real estate could come in and attempt to claim the money, and they occasionally do. That's why if you remember the strategy I said, is just let the things be 6 months old or older. Because if you're working on deals where they're 6 months old or older, then you don't need to worry about it. And we don't typically jump on it. We're not going like right after the sale and running over to someone's house to sign them up. Because if a mortgage company or lien holder is out there, they're going to make the claim within a couple months, and they're not going to be waiting for 6 months or more to make claim. They're going to go get the money. So for anything that's beyond 6 months, you're pretty safe. It's very rare that we lose a deal over anything like that. When we do, just keep it in context. these deals don't really cost you any money to put together. You're mailing back and forth to mail the claim in. We typically spend $60 getting someone to go out, get the paper signed, and send it back to us. If a deal falls through and you have $60 and maybe 6 or 7 hours in it at that point, it's not the end of the world. So the business is a pipeline business. So you load your pipeline. Most of them will work out. Some of them won't. None of them financially hurt you when they don't. It's very minor. So just load the pipeline up. And also had Matthew Courtney wanted to know, how do you avoid circumvention? We don't tell the people exactly where the money is when we're first talking to them. Essentially what I said to them, if it was Alan I was talking to, I'd say, hey, Alan, I understand that question, but this money belongs to someone, probably you. I mean, there's, it's a person named Alan COWGILL, so it probably is you, but I can't be sure of that. And until, we send someone out, they meet with you, see an ID, we really can't share the specifics on it because it's someone else's private information, or hopefully yours. So that's when we can share it. And when the person's there getting the paper signed, they don't do all that until the papers are signed, the fee agreement that says we get paid, then they can share the information. So that's the reason we say people are fine with it. So that's kind of the way that works. And let me see if I wrote any other things. Yeah, that was the questions I wrote down. I know, Alan, there might be more.
I see some coming in right now.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah.
By the way, can you see me okay? Because I can't see myself. I don't know.
It cuts off at the top of your tie if you got a tie. Okay.
But do you see my head?
I'm seeing more of the ceiling, but yeah, I can see your face. There you go. Oh, okay.
I was afraid it might be dark because it's kind of
you
bright
dressed up. You dressed up for us. I appreciate it.
You were in a tie, so I said I should be in a tie.
Yeah.
I am here at home. If my 3-year-old pops up, don't be surprised. He went out to feed the ducks. So
yeah. Remington's awesome. Yeah. He's awesome.
Good
So one of the things I did, just so all of you folks know, when I got Bob's system, I'm keen on systems, and so I created a checklist, and I showed it to Bob. And Bob, I think you use my checklist in your office now. Is that true?
We do. The checklist is awesome. And I just have to say to everybody, Alan put so much work into this checklist. It's literally step by step. I was almost embarrassed and ashamed because I was like, I don't have anything as good as that. And we just use it in our office because I think it's amazing. And I said to Alan from the beginning, I'm like, I won't give this out to any third parties because it's your creation. Thank you for sharing it. But I don't take other people's work, so it wasn't.
Yeah, but it's okay if I give it to my students that invest today in the overreach system. Yeah, so everybody that invests in the overreach system with Bob, you're going to get my checklist. And just so you know, one of the things I did in my checklist that I love is the scripts that he puts together. I put them right in there when it's time to talk to the person and have the scripts. You don't have to go anyplace else. And so it's step by step by step. It's a killer checklist. And I was so proud of it. I showed it to Bob, and then next thing I know, he asked me if he could use it in his office. And I said, sure. Yeah, of course. You folks just need to get out. He showed you where to go to overreachwithalan.com. Overreaches with an S, Alan, ALAN.com, and sign up. You'll love it. You will love the system. I got the system. I haven't bought a system other than this one for a decade or more, and I bought this one. So, and Bob's just a first-class guy.
Sorry about going outside for a second. My 3-year-old came in, but it's noisier out there, so I'll stay outside.
And Remington may be popping up.
Yep.
Anyway.
So, and you're in Puerto Rico right now,
right? Si, senor. Yeah, since I have a place in New York City, and I also have a place in Puerto Rico. And with the COVID virus, we sort of bailed out of the mainland and headed down to the sunny shores of Puerto Rico.
Well, you got a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Place down there. Yeah. Other questions? Do you have other questions coming in?
I can't see the chat bar now.
Says, do many states, I've got Eric here, do many states require a lawyer? I can't read the rest of it. Eric, come on and talk. Ask the question. Go ahead, Eric.
I had to unmute myself. Someone above me posted, and I just kind of reposted the same question. Do many states require a lawyer in court, even if you have a POA from the person who's owed the money?
Great question. Generally, no. So this money is usually held at the county level in an administrative agency, meaning county tax office. And for them, no lawyer required. You just fill in some forms and send it in. What you'll find in a few states, and really Delaware is one. I don't think there's anybody else that always puts in court. Delaware is really the only one that always puts it in court that I can think of. In that state, you do have to hire a lawyer who's going to file something called a petition, which is basically a request of the court to release the money because the court's holding it. And there you do end up hiring a lawyer. Typically budget $1,800 for that. So for a place like Delaware, that makes, a lot of people don't chase deals in Delaware because of that. Occasionally you're going to find a county will, what it's called, interplead the funds, meaning they pay the money into court, then you have to go to court to get it. Again, $1,800 line item budget. They'll do that when they have more than one person trying to claim the funds. Is their general when they do that. Not that typical, but it happens. So what I would say is, part of what we give you is a guide to each state, state by state.
That's what I held up. That's what I held. That's when I grabbed. That's this one right here.
So
Yeah.
we tell you in that, and the stay away from Delaware if you don't, obviously you don't want that expense. There's no place else that really always you have to have a lawyer.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Howdy.
My name's Michael. I was doing this in Kansas City up until last year.
Yeah.
And the first year was really easy. Just got the POA. Although I did find out that I had to have a lawyer even though I had the POA. So
yeah, did we give you Steve Smith? If you need someone there, Steve Smith is terrific.
I found a lawyer that would do it for $100. But then the next year, not only did they want the lawyer, but they wanted the person I was collecting the money from on behalf to actually send the person in the city office actually an email and confirm, even though there was a lawyer and a POA. So they got really in Kansas City.
I missed your question. What were they asking you for?
The Ashley, I can't even think what her last name is, but she's in the office that does that. She wanted an email from the person who was due the money to be sent from them to her stating that I was trying to collect the money on their behalf. In addition to the lawyer, in addition to the POA.
That's weird because so just to explain where he's coming from. So in Missouri, they require that a lawyer submit the claim, but the money's not in court. The money is just with the county, but they still, because Missouri defines the practice of law to include turning in a form to a county agency, which is just really silly, but it's very cheap. Like I pay Steve Smith $500. Apparently I'm not a good shopper. You're a good shopper. And it's kind of nice because you put in the money. You have the lawyer put in the claim. Usually we prepare the claim. Lawyer puts it in. They receive the check. They put it in their escrow account and they disperse check. So it's actually it's a pretty good deal. And we then spend our time signing people up. But it sounds like what you're running into is this weird situation where one particular county, Kansas City, is saying, oh, we also want an email from the claimant, which is really weird since there's an attorney on the scene.
Yeah,
I would, you know what I would do? I would give a cut and paste email and say to my client, hey, could you just copy this, just cut and paste this and send it to this person. And the other thing I would tell you is there are 113 counties in Missouri. Clark County, as you probably know, doesn't give back overages. They give a right to redeem, but the other 112 counties do. Look at the other counties. I wouldn't don't get discouraged on it or just have them send an email. It's a ridiculous thing.
Yeah, it seems pretty overkill.
Yeah, that's weird, especially when there's a lawyer on the scene. It's weird. But I'd encourage you to just keep taking a shot at it. Don't give up over something like that. I mean, I know counties can say weird things. Like there's one county in Connecticut, Bucks County, Connecticut, that claims there's a 15% overage, cap or fee cap in Pennsylvania, and there isn't. But Pennsylvania is like 90 other counties, so we just skipped it. I don't feel like getting into a fight with them. So usually what I say, this is what we do in our office. If someone's going to be really difficult with you, there are 3,007 counties in the United States, and we recommend essentially 20 states that we think are the best ones to do it in. And I've never added up the states, but it's probably 1,700 counties. So you really have more leads than you can ever shake a stick at, and there's no way you can ever run out of leads in this particular business, not under any realistic circumstance. So we don't fight with people. We just if there's difficulty. But we do tell you in our training, if there's a particular county that we find problematic, we tell you. Like in Florida, I don't like Miami-Dade County because they're slow as snails. They take like 4 months to do anything. You know, Bucks County, Pennsylvania is another example. So, and by the way, someone asked a question, I remember, and I didn't get a chance to write it down. Someone said, you know, how long does it take to get paid out typically? And of course, they're all bureaucracies running kind of their own rate. But what we generally expect in our office is around 4 months from the time you submit the claim till the time they're either paying it out or not. Usually they're paying it out, but in case something wrong, not. We usually tell claimants 5 months just so that we have leeway, because no one ever complains if you send the money back early. Like, hey, I got it early, and it's 3 months out. They're happy. Then I'll say, oh, you said this would take 5 months. And yeah, here's your money early. So typically 4 months. And I think, sure, if you're planning your life from here, you know, I would plan probably a week or two for training. I would say then you'll get started, probably a couple weeks to sign up your first claimant. So I would think, let's see, we're at the end of June now. So I would think end of July, early August, you should be getting your first signups. And then you're about 4 months away from your first payday, and just load the pipeline. That's what we do. We just literally load the pipeline with claims. They don't take that much time. You know, typically in my experience, 8 hours a claim is enough, you know, between filling out the forms, following up, et cetera. So just load your pipeline. And, you know, as fast as you load them up, that's kind of the rate they come out on. You know, if you loaded one a month, you get about one a month out. If you load one a week, you'd get about one a week out. The other thing I'd encourage you, and I would say, you know, work within one state to start with, because if you're on something like, you know, Kansas City is taking a weird position. There are 111 other counties that will work under the same state laws. They'll work, you know, very similarly, meaning you'll be able to know the terminology and do the deals easily. You can have one attorney if you need it that covers the whole state. And it's, you know, pretty simple. It's an easy way to start. And then as you grow your business, start to work in other states, but start off in one place. It'll be easier because the rules are all state specific they're operating under. So.
Got other questions?
Hi, Bob. Calvin Brown here. How has COVID-19 slowed this process, or has it?
I couldn't make out the question now. Could you hear it?
I only heard part of it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, is better.
There you go.
Okay. Has COVID-19 slowed this process down?
Well, it's done two things, yes and no. It's made it easier to get people because more people are home. So that part is easier. And without a lot of people working, you know, it's easier to get in touch with people. The counties are a little bit slower. Not terribly, but a little bit slower. And, you know, we do everything by mail, so they get it, and they're still processing them. And I wouldn't say it's I haven't done like a statistical study, but I would expect maybe an extra 2 weeks for them to process it. But everybody's kind of getting like used to working remotely. You know, they're using scanning technology, and we all know that. If you call a company for customer service, half the time it's someone at home. So my experience, not maybe slow it down 2 weeks, but nothing too major.
Thank you.
And also for everybody out there, I really am just a big believer that we are coming into a huge buying opportunity in real estate. You know, it's gotten, to me, the deals have gotten tighter over the past couple of years. And we're going to see sellers that just need to sell, especially in the commercial arena, where they're just in a lot of pain and they need to sell. And they're going to be selling like for the bank balance, meaning for the mortgage balance. And you see some people that are in rental properties in the same position. And I think that's probably 9 months out when it really is in its prime, and probably go for another year after that. But get prepared, like get your cash together, do your fundraising. And I think it's really smart to be working with Alan on this fundraising right now, because your only regret, you know, 5 years from now is going to be that you didn't buy more properties. I can guarantee it. That's where I was. Because after 2009, I spotted some opportunities for buying houses in Las Vegas. I was buying places that formerly had been 275 to 300,000. I was picking up for 75,000, you know, with the cost of work included. And those places went back up to 275 within a couple of years. And they rented positive cash flow. They rented for $1,300 a month. And the only thing I wish is I bought 1,000 of them. That was my only wish. And I would say that's what we're headed into again. So I think like the way this overages fits in, build up some cash, work on your fundraising, and then be picky about your deals. But know that in like 9 months, we should see just sweetheart deals right and left.
Yeah, I call it the perfect storm when I talk to folks about it, because I think the banks are going to tighten up. There's going to be more stuff on the market to buy, and the private lenders definitely need us. Okay. And I encourage folks to get their training done now. Like, you know, you get your system, get your training going, and then launch. And just like today, doing my boot camp, you know, get the training done and be ready for what happens, like you say, in 9 months. You and I are on the same page. Yep. Totally.
I mean, you and I have been in real estate a long time, been through a couple of cycles. I don't know if you saw, I first started when the RTC cycle was coming through, meaning, remember all the savings and loans failed, and RTC, Resolution Trust Corporation, came in and took over all the savings and loans. Man, there were deals. And that I couldn't really participate in. I was young and I didn't have much access to capital. But then when the 87, I did a little bit, there was another downturn. And then in the 2009 recession, I crushed it. And this, I'm surprised it's here this fast. Usually these things, they seem to spread out 20 years instead of 10.
Yep.
You know, got to prepare early. Got to get your money lined up, get your systems lined up, get your training done, and then be ready to pull it. Because there will be deals available earlier. I'm not saying there's nothing before 9 months. I'm just saying be picky.
Yeah.
And don't rush in, because
I want to make sure I get everybody's questions answered. Steve McNair, I saw something come across from you a little bit ago. Do you have a question?
I'll count the chat again.
Huh? I can see chats coming through.
No, I was just making a comment based on what the gentleman mentioned earlier about Kansas City, Missouri. In Jackson County, which is Casey Mo, they are in financial dire straits in the county, and they just raised taxes 40 to 60% on everybody this last year.
Can you imagine the tax bills that's going to lead to? You know,
well, yeah, I mean, what they did is the way they raised the taxes this year was they hired a consulting company to come in and write basically it's blowing back on them in court, bogus appraisal values that went up. A lot of properties went up 100 to 300% in appraisal values, and that's going to translate directly back into taxes. And that's probably also why they're making it more difficult to get the money back out from these overages, because they're looking to hang on to the money.
Yeah, you know, I often find they're kind of passive aggressive. You know, it's not the ladies that run the place, and don't anybody be offended, but the ladies run the courthouse. I can tell you that. I'm authorized as an attorney to tell you that and not be beaten by anybody. You know, the ladies run the place. Anybody who's been there knows that. And, you know, they're not personally offended that someone's getting their money. They're mostly happy. It's people up above them, that, you know, are county supervisors and people worried about the finances that are maybe a little more greedy. But they can only be so resistant. You know, you can't say no, because let's face it, the money belongs to the people that lost their house. They collect the taxes for sure and the expenses of sale, but everything else belongs to the former owner. And what I would expect, you know, so we get like passive resistance. It's kind of like taking your dog to the vets. You know, you put the leash on and the dog, you're like pulling the dog, and the dog like puts its brakes on, but it's still coming, and the dog's coming. And that's pretty much the way it is. And we work as path of least resistance. If a county's really difficult, we always have a bunch of other counties to choose from, and we'll typically, rather than get involved in fights with people, we just move on and go to a different county. But I do expect over the next year, I mean, it's inevitable that tax foreclosures will increase. And there are really two reasons. One, taxes will go up. But secondly, anybody who's ever done tax sales knows that these folks run around at the last minute, and they're looking to like scrape the money together to pay the taxes or get into a payment plan. And they're last minute Larry and Jane, all of them. And it's going to be tougher this year because their friends are going to be maybe more broke than they were the year before. They're going to be more broke than they were the year before. And it's just, you know, it's going to be tough for them. And I think that'll just translate into more overages. And I wish it weren't that way. You know, I don't take glee in that. I don't take any glee in that more than a doctor says, woohoo, COVID virus, I'll get to treat more people. It's not, you know, we had enough leads as it was, but.
I see questions coming in here. Josephine, you put in a couple questions. You got You want to ask Bob?
Yes, I had a question. One second.
Yeah.
So the question that I had was, do you see the excess potential up front somewhere? And then the other question is, in Tennessee, there's a 1 year right of redemption. Does the owner have to get the money back during that 1 year period or after?
Okay, so let me just, I didn't understand the first part of your question. Let me answer the second, and then you can come back on and ask another one. When there's a right of redemption, like there is in, say, Georgia, for example, where the owner can come back, and what a right of redemption means for everybody, it means the owner can come back after the tax sale for up to a year, pay the taxes, penalties, and interest, and then keep the house. So when you have a situation like that, then during that first year, you can't claim the overage money. You have to wait to turn in the claim until the first year is expired. So what we do in places like that is we sign people up that, where it's either past a year or close to a year. We sign them up, then we turn in the claim after the 12 months is expired. I think most people don't redeem their properties. Again, I've never done like a technical study of it, but most people, if they didn't have the money to pay the taxes, don't miraculously find it. They have to come up with tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands to buy the property back after a tax sale. So it's pretty, it's tough for them to redeem. But in those situations, what you're going to do is sign people up either close to the end of the redemption period or after, and then you turn in the claim at the end of the redemption period, and then you get paid. So that's how that works. And Josephine, if you're going to repeat the first part of the question, I'm happy to answer. I just missed it at some point.
Okay, sure. So just to follow up on that last question real quick, is there a cap? So for example, that you have 5 years to claim these overages, or 10 years, or is there any limit on it?
Each state has a different time limit, and the time limit is called when the funds escheat. So the legal word is escheat. And I think it's kind of funny because we look at word roots as lawyers to find out what the real meaning of words is. And if you think of the word escheat, which is for when the money forfeits to the government, that's a really funny word for this, but because people get cheated out of their money. So it sounds like you might be looking at Georgia to me. So Georgia has a 1 year right of redemption. So during that time period, you're not going to turn the claim in. And then you have up to 5 years to turn in a claim. And all states have different time periods. Our research, we give you research that tells you the time period in every state. And 3 years is probably kind of an average. Georgia, where you're looking, is 5 years. And it's a deadline to turn the claim in, not to get the claim paid out. So all you have to do is turn in the claim within 5 years in Georgia, and they'll pay it out. It may take, like, if you turn it in 4 years and 11 and a half months, it would still take a couple of months to get it paid out, but they wouldn't say, oh, we're so sorry, you missed it.
And it's still the same amount, right? Like essentially then. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no penalty. It's a deadline to put the claim in, not a deadline to get it paid out. It's probably the way to put it.
Very helpful. And so the first question was, so do you see the excess potential upfront somewhere? So for example, on the list that, you were to buy into your course. Mm-hmm.
The list that you get actually shows you how much money is available. And, it's a free country. You can charge what you want. I think the cap is probably 50%. I think if you say to someone, if I said, hey, Josephine, you're owed a bunch of money and we'll split it, 40-60, 40 to you, 60 to me, you'd be like, no, I'm not going to do that. But if you say, hey, you get the lion's share, you get 70% or even 60%, that works. So just work for a percentage. So if you want to know how much a deal is worth, just take the total amount that's there and then just multiply it times either 40% or 30% or whatever you want to charge. And there are very few expenses. It's not like the county says, we had $5,000 worth of these miscellaneous expenses. That's not.
Probably the virtual assistant, or if you really do kind of try to scale it a little bit, then.
Oh, for us, what do we charge? I'm sorry. No, we just charge a percentage. So we don't charge, we charge a percentage plus any hard costs. So if I send a FedEx out for $50, I charge that against the file.
Oh,
I don't charge soft costs though. I don't charge like, oh, my assistant worked on this for 4 hours. I don't charge that way. I like to keep it simple because it is profitable. You look at the deals and like I said, $30,000, $40,000 deals are very run of the mill. And even a $30,000 deal at 30% is $9,000 in revenue. And in our company, I'll give everybody some numbers. So we work as a virtual team. I have a sales team. They get 7% of the claim, and 7% of gross. So if we're talking about a $30,000 claim, sales team gets $2,100. I'm going to get as a company, we work for 40% almost always. So I'm going to get as a company $12,000. So I have 12,000. I paid the sales team 2,100. So for round figures, I have 10,000 left to work with, and then I'm paying my staff and myself out of that. So it's a very low cost business, though. It's not a.
Got it. Yeah, I just wanted to know essentially that you see the potential, like upfront, even like the difference essentially between what someone overbid and what the taxes really were. So
what the list is a list of money they're holding. So it actually is the net number. So you don't have to wonder about, oh, you know, what are they going to deduct for taxes? That's the net. It's really the accounting list. So what do we have left? Because what happens at the end of the tax sale is that the government takes the money. Then a clerk says, all right, what's owed on this property? We owe the school tax people, you know, $8,000. We owe the county tax people $2,000. They write out all those checks, and then they have a resulting balance, and that's what you see in the overages list. Is that?
Okay, and that's really from someone overbidding essentially at the tax sale, right? Like
it happens pretty much every time there's a structure that's sold at tax sale. There's an excess fund. You know, raw land, either probably not or very small amounts of excess funds. But you know, for most people, the taxes there are behind 3 or 4 years, and then they lose the property tax sale. Most taxes in America are a little less than 2% of the property value per year. So if we had, let's take a $275,000 house, it's sort of average in America. That's a little under $6,000 a year in taxes. Get 3 years behind, there you are at $18,000 behind. Let's say you double it because of penalties and interest, because those are pretty obscene. But take $18,000, double it, they owe $36,000. Well, if you have a $275,000 house, it's not selling for anywhere near $36,000. It's going to sell for, you know, $200,000. And whoever buys it will think they got a great deal, and they did. But from the overages perspective, you know, you've got a lot of money sitting there.
very intriguing. No, appreciate your input. Thank you so much.
Sure, you're very welcome. Thanks for the questions.
Thanks. You okay for a couple more, Bob?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. I saw Glenn come through on a previous owner question. What do you got, guy?
Yeah, thanks again for doing. Yeah, so in regards to bankruptcy, so if there was a previous owner who filed for bankruptcy, is there a possibility that creditors might have a right to claim some of the overages?
So you'll occasionally find people in bankruptcy, and I'll give you the rules. I'll try to keep it at a clear enough level. So there are essentially two kinds of bankruptcies that people might be filing. One is a Chapter 7, the other is a Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is when you're trying to save a property, like you typically see those in mortgage foreclosures where someone's trying to get a payment plan to catch up on a mortgage. If the mortgage, whether it's a 7 or 13, is discharged, you don't need to worry about, you can claim the money. If it's dismissed, you don't have to worry about it, you can claim the money. The only ones you have to worry about are an active Chapter 13. So if you have a Chapter 13 where it's still active, then what the person would have to do is report the money into bankruptcy court, and the money would become subject to the bankruptcy court. That's not a good situation for you. What we do when we talk to someone who's in bankruptcy, which is pretty rare because usually if they're out, there's no reason to be in bankruptcy. But if we speak to someone who's in active Chapter 13, we just say to them, look, we'll talk to you once the bankruptcy is completed and we can do this, and we drop it. And we do call them later. We'll keep an eye on their bankruptcy, which is easy to do. We do that because if it were an active Chapter 13, then you'd be stuck with bankruptcy court too, which means you'd have to apply for your commission. And it's just not worth it, not worth the trouble. But I do want to stress, this is something that, like, if it happens to us once every 3 years, it would be a lot. So it very rarely happens. Great question though. Usually you're going to find the bankruptcy is either dismissed or discharged. Discharged means successfully completed. Dismissed means abandoned. Either of those, you can just claim the money. It's no impact at all. So the only one to worry about is an active Chapter 13. And by the way, we have a very strong and robust support. So if you run into something like that, like, hey, I get this weird situation, all you have to do is email or call support, and I would give you the in-depth on your situation, because we support those kinds of things. It's you can't put every single thing and every possible iteration in the training manual. So we back it up with support, and I have a full-time support person whose only job it is to answer student questions. And there's no charge for that or anything. It's just part of what we do.
You got some great folks in your office, and they're amazing. So yeah, they'll take care of you. Are you good there on your question?
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. I'm going to take one more, and then I'm fighting the clock here, so I'll have to get going after this one, Bob. Stacy, I saw you come up with a question. You want to ask? Hi.
Took me a minute to get off mute.
Yep.
Okay. I was wondering, do we have to pay for county list to your company, or how does that work? How do we get the list?
The price is right, Stacy. The price is free. They're almost always either downloadable from the internet, or the ladies that run the place. Hopefully it doesn't offend anybody. The ladies that run the place will just attach them to an email and send it back to you. It is public record, so that it's not or anything. So they just typically attach them to the email and send it back. Is like one county in, I'm trying to think of where it is. It may be Missouri. It's like one county that charges for lists. It's only one. We've never bought their list. And there are occasionally, very occasionally, counties that will say, oh, we only send out hard copies, and then they want like $1 a page for copying, and when you send them a self-addressed stamped envelope, which is kind of silly because the lists are like 2 or 3 pages. So you end up sending them a self-addressed stamped envelope and a money order for $3, which is just a bit of silliness. That's like less than 1%. We do have students that get those lists just because like no one else is going to go to the trouble of getting these things, so I'll do it. But nothing, no expense really, and you can just go online and grab them, or send an email, and the ladies that run the place will just shoot it back to
you. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Very good. Hey, Bob, I want to thank you. Hey, everybody, just so you know, and for those of you that might have come in late, that if you get Bob's system, and you should, I'm also going to send you my checklist that we talked about. And it must be pretty good if he's using it in his office. So, so you get a nice little extra bonus by being here today. Bob, I want to thank you. That was incredible. You always are. Great training. And for the folks that hadn't heard this before, what an eye opener and an opportunity out there for everybody. And I want to thank you for doing this. I appreciate it.
I'm happy to do it. I love to bring people into this, and I want more pictures of little old ladies in Nevada who are living in Walmart parking lots, just because I think it's very touching for me. And,
it is.
And I'm looking forward to some of your folks, man, because this is the time where fortunes are made, no matter what you choose to, whether you choose to do overages or not. It doesn't really impact my life one way or the other, but one thing I'll tell you is this is the time to put the pedal to the metal. This is the time to like raise money like you're doing with Alan, and to really get ready for what Alan's describing as a tidal wave, because that is what's coming. And these opportunities, they come, like opportunities come in lumps. It's like you have this big opportunity, and this is the time when the opportunity is just going to flood your email inbox. And just be confident and go out there and do it. And you have time. I think really 9 months is going to start the prime time. Yeah. And go, get your training now, get prepared, get your cash together, get your funds raised. And you're really smart to be working with Alan on this right now. It's really the time. And this is when the fortune's made. So I'm looking forward to seeing some folks on training on Monday. Look forward to that and helping you out to get started in overages. And for everybody, whether you choose to get involved or not, it was great being here. Thanks for the smart questions. Super nice group of people. I was looking at some of the comments, just really nice comments. Thanks for the compliments that people gave. And I'm just looking forward to working with some of you and just helping you to make a big difference in your financial life and your family's financial life, and these poor people that are just totally down and out. And we help the poorest of the poor. So come on in and help us help people.
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
To your wealth. Bye-bye. David, I saw a question come up. Was that for me? I couldn't see the whole thing. There's something about getting the system.
Oh, I was asking, once we sign up, I meant to say with Bob.
Uh-huh.
After we signed up with him, are you automatically just emailing us that checklist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. What'll happen, the way it works is Donna Donna will get the list of everybody that signed up, and I'll get the email, and I will personally send it to you.
Awesome.
As soon as I get that email. Yeah. So that's the way it works. And just go out to overagewithallen.com and get the system. And as soon as I get that email from Donna, then I will send you my checklist. And folks love it. I get some great feedback on it. So, yeah. Glad I did it. I did it for me. I didn't do it for everybody else, but it turned out I'm doing it for anybody getting Bob's system. All right, Bob. See ya. Take care. All right. Couple things. Prizes. We had number 7 and number 9 picked. I have a list of what those are, but I don't know if the system worked. But with number 7, you should have gotten 3 rehab ebooks. And with number 9, you should have got Walking with the Wise Real Estate Investor, that book that has chapters with different speakers. So, Gary, I want to do let's end the day here with one last prize drawing, but don't have them go to the board. Just give me a number and I can read off what they got.
Okay, let me get the 73 people on. All right, number 12. Roxanne, is it McConnor? You're on mute, Roxanne.
Sorry, it's McCormick. Roxanne.
McCormick, there it is. Okay. Yeah. Roxanne, give us a number.
8.
8, okay. How to Be a Hard Money Lender. It's my newest book. It's a fat book, too. So I'll be sending that out to you.
Awesome.
Hope you enjoy it. Hey, one last thing for everybody before I let you escape. When I'm on stage and with you folks and we're at this event, I get a pretty good feeling on folks that are going to do the homework and not going to do the homework. And doing this virtual stuff, it's a little bit different. And so I can only encourage you to take that down. Gary, can you take Bob off the screen? I can only encourage you to do the homework. If you don't do the homework, it doesn't hurt me one way or the other. What's it do? It hurts you. It doesn't give you the opportunity to learn. It doesn't give you the opportunity to ask me questions tomorrow, in that if you didn't do the homework, then you didn't get information that could help me help you. And so I'm here to help you. I mean, this is my way of making you successful and getting you launched. And so normally when I'm in a room with people, I ask them over and over again to raise their hand and if they're going to do the homework. And in this kind of atmosphere, it makes it a little bit tough. Stacy's asking what the homework is. It's where you would, based on using the magic words in the 30-second commercial that's in the boot camp manual that you got, that you would call people tonight and also follow through the path to wealth. And so if you just study up on that, then go on in and try to get somebody, and then we'll go from there. You can tell them you're just fishing, or you can tell them you've been at a class and the guy asked you to go ask for money because you're learning how to get the money. And I've seen people raise millions just doing that. So the goal is here tonight is everybody do their homework. Yes or yes? Nobody's answering. You guys had where you could put a thumb up, right? Or something like that. You going to do the homework? Let me see the thumbs. Thumbs up. There you go. Stacy, I can't see your thumb. There we go. How about, there we go. All right, Luke. Got you. Everybody here on this page turned their cameras off, but I got a bunch of thumbs going up. Awesome. That's pretty cool. I didn't know the system do that. All right, let's do it. We're going to kick it off tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Yes? Everybody good? Yes? Time to sign out? Okay. Thank you. You guys have been great. Appreciate it. And we're going to have a great day tomorrow. I got another attorney for you along with myself. But this guy teaches you how to keep the money that you're going to get tonight. But we're going to get in. I'm going to get more in-depth on private money and get you positioned for the attorney. And one of the things I'm going to have Donna hand out and Gary hand out tomorrow is the Allen's SEC matrix, and we're going to walk you through that so that so you'll understand what the programs are that's available to you out there. All right. Thanks, everybody. To your wealth. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.